So it's early in March. I just thought I'd head out into the mountains again for a couple of days. I'm not even really sure if I'm going to post this video. I just thought I would do a little bit more of a video log. I always forget to bring a pen and a paper, so this is my reminder to do that. It's nice to be able to keep track of what works and what doesn't work, so that's my first note in this video, note to self here. This time I brought the Sled out, 5-gallon bucket stove. The rest of my gear is pretty much the same. Just stopped to take off a base layer there, or a mid-weight layer fleece. It's not breathing very well, which is kind of typical as I work up a little bit of a sweat already. A couple of clicks into this trip. Temperature is about -14. So far, gear's all working well. Snowshoes, boots. Had a couple little false starts the last couple of weeks here, so I didn't even really video those or post them. Just things weren't working out well with the gear, so came for a couple of days and went back home again. So everything's pretty fresh. Made some modifications. Talk about gear a little bit further on, but for right now I'm gonna just press on, see how far I get. Everly stock frame pack with the dry bag. That works pretty well. Get pretty much everything I need. Still bring in a pack on this in case I need to stash the sled somewhere and just go with what I can carry on my back if the trail gets too bad. May as well combine a pack and a dry bag in one. In the sled I got the 5-gallon bucket stove, a foam mat. I also brought an inflatable. So I think those two things together should be warm enough. Got my Prandy hatchet again. Just brought that grocery bag, so if I want to grab a little bit of wood and don't have to carry it one little piece at a time, that's kind of handy. A couple of poly tarps, and I did bring a silky saw. I'll show you that later. But I brought the Irwin coarse crosscut 20-inch handsaw. That's still, I think, one of the best saws available on the market, other than going with a silky. Brought the Henry Big Boy 16-inch barrel, 44 Magnum. And since I got the sled, I brought a case to put it in. That Ruger 1022 bag is actually perfect for that Henry and all my other trapper rifles with the 16-inch barrel. Didn't bring any kind of a belt this time. I just brought that shoulder carry with a water pouch. And in there, I've just got a little MSR stove if I want to make a little bit of soup on the trail. I'm going to show that one later. And other than that, a little bit of fire material, a couple of granola bars, and that's about it. So no belt. My knife is on my belt loop. This time out I brought the Light Outdoors 9x12 sil-tarp again. Tarp only with no ends sewn onto it because I got the stove. 9x12 is about the smallest I'm going to go when I use a stove. 8x10 is just a little bit too tight. Sil-tarp has got a lot of sag to it, so there's a good chance of singeing your tarp on the stovepipe if you get a little bit of wind. And while it goes into that bag at home without too much trouble, cold hands, a little bit of frost, and I am definitely bringing that stuff sack, so tomorrow morning I don't have to fight to get it back into that little bag that it came in. A little bit of different cordage this time. Didn't go with paracord. This stuff is not quite as stretchy as paracord. Had one failure already with something else that was a little thinner than this, and I just couldn't, I could tie a knot, but I couldn't get it to release. So this stuff seems to be pretty good. I can't even remember what it is, but that's Home Depot. 4-foot pipe with the stove a little bit into the tarp shelter. That titanium seems to spring into that shape once you fire form it. 12 inches will give you a 3-inch diameter pipe with a little bit of overlap. Brought a whole bag of these DIY cable or clamps, I guess if you want to call them. And really 1 or 2 is enough. No need to bring 10. Don't forget to bring a little bit of wire. Either you're going to tie that off the end of your ridge line or off a branch like this just to support the end of that pipe. No stove jack on the end, just going to more or less go with an open shelter tonight. And stainless steel clamp there. I know some people have had problems with these. I haven't had any issues. I did bring a second one just in case, a little bit of a makeshift screwdriver, and a 3-inch galvanized elbow right into the top. That there is a repair to the tarp. Had a bit of an encounter with a hot stovepipe previously, and just had got that stitched up again. Seems to be holding pretty well. So going to be a little bit more cautious. Make sure that stovepipe stays well away from the tarp here tonight. So talking about running out of time out here, I'm almost out of daylight. This old phone also ran out of battery, so I got it plugged into one of my battery packs and a little bit of a charge back into it. It was starting to snow a little bit there, so I got this one end closed up with a Mylar emergency blanket. Always remember tarp clips. Just a couple of those makes life so much easier. So that should work for tonight. Had to switch the stovepipe over to the other side. But my hands are getting cold. Got the same light gloves on that I had. Temperature says -15, so it's about the same as it was this morning. But kind of standing here, working I was fine, but kind of standing here last couple of minutes, starting to get cold. So time to get in there, get that stove fired up and see if I can't get warmed up a little bit.